This is the United States. All these lines signify the boundaries of each state. There are 50 states. Some are great places to live, others not so much. Today I'm going to tell you which are the 10 best states going into 2026 to live in. We do this list every year. We rank the states by their stats: crime, economy, real estate, schools, healthcare, and a few other things, and see who shakes out to be the best. Over the years, quite a few states have fallen off the list, and of course, we've gained some new ones. When I first did this list back in 2018, Oregon was actually on the list. Between number 2 and number 1, I'll give you a few that almost made the list. Everyone always asks about that. All right, we're going to look at the top 10 best states to live in 2026 right now. Number 10, Washington State. This is a great place for people who like the rain and tech money. Washington just isn't coffee shops, homeless camps, and overcast skies. It's one of the most economically powerful states in the country. It's home to Amazon, Microsoft, and more aerospace companies than you can shake a wrench at. The job market is solid, especially around Seattle. The state doesn't have an income tax either, which might explain why so many tech workers end up here. But Washington also has history. Originally known for logging and fishing, it's transitioned over the last century into a hub of innovation and green energy, and a pretty cool cruise port. Seattle played a major role in the grunge music scene, while towns like Olympia and Tacoma still hang on to their quirky, artsy edge. Outside the big cities, life slows down a bit. Spokane offers a more relaxed urban vibe, while places like Leavenworth feel like you've stepped into a Bavarian fairy tale. The Pacific Northwest isn't just moody and rainy, it's moody, rainy, and loaded with opportunity. They also knock it out of the park when it comes to infrastructure. Seattle has one of the best public transit system, their roads are decent, and they haven't had a bridge collapse since the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in 1940. That's a great story, by the way. Construction started in November of 1938. It was completed July 1st, 1940. It collapsed November 7th, 1940. But just recently, the Washington Senate gave the green light to a big bipartisan transportation deal aiming at fixing up the state's roads, bridges, ferries, and transit system, which is already doing pretty good. It's been months in the making, but lawmakers finally came together and hammered out a plan to help keep Washington moving in the long haul. The big things that get Washington on this list: it ranks high in opportunity, economy, quality of life, and amenities. Number 9, Minnesota. Cold winters, warm people. Minnesota might freeze your eyelashes off in January, but it also consistently ranks high in healthcare, education, and public safety. There's a reason people stick around despite the wind chill. It works. Cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul offer urban perks with a fraction of the chaos you'll find in coastal cities. Historically, Minnesota was built by waves of Scandinavians and German immigrants, which helps explain the whole Midwestern nice thing. These are the people who bake casseroles for you even when you're not sick. The state also played a big part in America's labor movement, helping to shape the progressive policies still felt today. Minnesota isn't just all tundra and tater-tot hot dishes. With over 11,000 lakes, I've actually heard it's closer to 13,000, state parks galore, and top-tier fishing and boating, it's an outdoor lover's dream, if you can survive the winters. That's their biggest knock. Sure, they got some crime in their major cities, but the rest of the state is pretty mellow when it comes to crime. I mean, they don't have some Southside Chicago or Detroit or East St. Louis type crime. They're nowhere near that. So they're on this list because of things like public safety, education, healthcare, like we said earlier, quality of life, and affordability. Their big knock is bad weather. Number 8, North Carolina. Mountains, beaches, and barbecue. North Carolina is one of the few states where you can surf in the morning and hike in the Appalachians by dinner. It's also rapidly growing thanks to a combo of affordable living, mild winters, and booming metro areas like Raleigh and Charlotte. I've mentioned this before on this channel, but I've seen, not that I know these people personally, well, one of them I do, but I've seen like 6 or 7 big-time YouTubers move to North Carolina over the last handful of years. And it's not just YouTubers. Other people that I've known have looked into it. I even looked into it for a while. It is a very popular state to move to right now. Historically, this state played a major role in the early American economy through tobacco and textiles. These days, the Research Triangle area is full of biotech and education jobs. This is basically Silicon Valley with a southern drawl and way less pretension. Tech and biotech jobs are huge here. They can't get enough workers, it seems like. Their healthcare is great, And like I said earlier, they got a lot of education jobs. But don't let their economic boom fool you. North Carolina hasn't lost its soul. The food here is unreal as long as you're really into barbecue. They have some of the best. The towns still have character, and there's a sweet spot between progress and tradition. North Carolina is very much a sporting state. They got football teams, basketball teams, a hockey team, tons of minor league everything, and this is basically the NASCAR state. So why does it get on this list? It ranks high in healthcare, affordability, education, opportunity, and amenities. This is another state that doesn't have a city that's just known for crime. I mean, many states have them. Memphis, Tennessee, Detroit, Michigan, Rockford, Illinois, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, and about 5 places in California. Not North Carolina. They're doing good. Number 7, Colorado. Altitude and attitude. Colorado is what happens when rugged mountain living meets outdoor obsessed techies and craft beer snobs. Denver and Boulder are magnets for young professionals, and the job market here is solid, especially in aerospace, renewable energy, and software. They also have a pretty good sized military presence here, so if that's your thing, at some point, unless you join the Navy, you'll probably end up in Colorado. This was once frontier land, cattle, mining, and the occasional Wild West gunfight. Today, it's more yoga studios and Subaru Outbacks than 6-shooters. But you can still feel the pioneering spirit here. It's one of the few states where you can work in a lab by day and ski down a black diamond by night. Colorado is one of those places that's been moved to by civilians, not just the military, but people have always moved to Colorado. It's like one of those places to get a fresh start. A lot of Colorado people aren't too pleased about this over the years because they've kind of been flooded. Now, it's not all perfect. Just like any place else, Denver has some homeless. I'm sure a lot of cities have homeless, but Denver's kind of got a problem they're working on right now. It'll be better. But the rest of the state is amazing. In reality, Denver's not that bad. But Colorado gets on this list because it ranks well for healthcare access, outdoor recreation, quality of life, opportunity, and it's just a pretty cool state to live in. Like I said though, the locals have a bone to pick with you if you're coming there from California or just about any place. Number 6, New Hampshire. No income tax, no problem. Live free or die, right? That's New Hampshire's actual state motto, and they mean it. With no sales or income tax, this little northeastern gem punches way above its weight class in livability. It's clean, safe, and filled with small towns that look like they were designed by the Hallmark movie channel. You just go in places and you expect every store to be like those Pepperidge Farm places. Historically, New Hampshire was one of the original 13 colonies and played a crucial role in the American Revolution. These days, it plays a crucial role in confusing political pundits every 4 years with its primary elections. But if you're into small government, beautiful forests, and people who politely mind their own business, New Hampshire has what you're looking for. Plus, fall foliage here is the kind of stuff Instagram was made for. I love New Hampshire. It's a great state. New England states tend to be very expensive, so that stops them from having, let's say, a big rush of people or a big migration of people to that state. But New Hampshire's a little bit different. They are a little more expensive, but like I said, no income tax, no sales tax. They get on here because of quality of life, low taxes, great health care, education, and the great outdoors. Number 5, Idaho. Quietly awesome. Idaho often flies under the radar, and honestly, the locals are just fine with that. It offers low crime, stunning mountain ranges, and a low cost of living compared to its western neighbors. Boise has become one of the fastest growing cities in the country thanks to a strong job market, access to the outdoors, and overall quality of life. That's nothing new to anyone that lives in Boise because they've watched this place blow up over the last 10 years or so. And for good reason. It's a great city to live in. Historically, Idaho was known for mining, farming, and of course potatoes. But it's evolved into a place where tech startups, entrepreneurs, and families are planting roots. The city of Coeur d'Alene, near the Canadian border, draws nature lovers and retirees to its picturesque lakes and pine-covered hills. This is another place where they're tired of people moving in there. But as long as you're part of the United States, you really don't have a say in it. Sure, they can complain all they want, but they can't change it. They always seem to act like no one's ever moved out of Idaho to California or Oregon or any place else. But if you like the idea of living somewhere with some elbow room, friendly people, and the kind of scenery that belongs on a postcard, Idaho might just be that spot. Idaho gets on here because of opportunity, affordable compared to the other western states, the great outdoors, safety, and just an overall great place to live. Number 4, Texas. Big skies, bigger wallets. Love it or hate it, Texas is a magnet for new residents. And it's not just because of the brisket and the cowboy hats. No state income tax, a business-friendly environment, and affordable housing. Outside Austin, the Lone Star State continues to grow like a weed. Has been for a while. Just like Colorado, just like Idaho, they're kind of over people moving in, but the difference is they got a lot of land. So people are spreading out in that state. Sure, it sucks they're being overrun, but they're a little more welcoming than some of the other states that are very popular. Historically, Texas was its own republic before joining the US, and it's still got that whole independent streak. Cities like Houston and Dallas have diverse economies, from energy and medicine to aerospace and tech. San Antonio holds on to its Spanish colonial roots, with the Alamo standing as a proud historical landmark. I've been to the Alamo just recently. I wasn't impressed. I love the history of it, great story, but it's an old building with a gift shop. I like San Antonio. It's not a bad place to be. Even though Texas is a little overdone, I mean, people have been moving there and flooding in there for quite a few years now, it's still a great place to live. It may not be as good as it was, let's say 10 years ago, but it's still better than most states to move to. So they got job opportunities, affordable land for a popular state, low taxes, their property tax kind of high, but all the other taxes are pretty low, no state income tax, they don't have crazy crime, healthcare is great, and education in most parts of the state is doing pretty good. Just like their quality of life, in most parts of the state, it's pretty decent. Number 3, Vermont. Peace and maple syrup. Vermont is tiny, rural, and exactly what you want when you're tired of honking horns and HOA meetings. It's known for its safety, excellent public services, and an almost unreasonable dedication to preserving its natural beauty. The state's economy is driven by tourism, agriculture, and small-scale manufacturing, plus the occasional Ben & Jerry's pint. Fun fact of this, I just saw today that Ben from Ben & Jerry's got arrested in the halls of Congress for disrupting a congressional hearing. But it's one of the few places where off-the-grid living isn't a fantasy. It's just called Tuesday. Montpelier, the capital, is the only one in the US without a McDonald's, which basically sums up Vermont's vibe. They don't like the whole corporate thing. They like mom and pop shops. Vermont's history goes back to the pre-revolutionary days, and it was the first state to outlaw slavery. If you want progressive values, quiet surroundings, and enough flannel to wallpaper a barn, this is your place. Vermont gets on here because of the great outdoors, the quality of life, education, and of course, safety. This state has no crime, hardly. If you rank all the states by crime and safety, there are 3 states that always jockey for the number 1 position. That's Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Number 2, Utah. Family friendly and financially solid. Utah doesn't get enough credit. It's one of the strongest economies in the US, some of the best managed state budgets, and a shockingly low unemployment rate. Salt Lake City is booming, and places like Provo are tech hotspots thanks to what's called the Silicon Slopes. Everyone's got something. The Silicon Valley, the Silicon Slopes, the Silicon Prairie. I'm sure Louisiana or Mississippi has one called the Silicon Swamp. You go there, it's just one dude with a computer still paying for AOL. Historically tied to Mormon pioneers, Utah still has a unique cultural flavor. While that may not be for everyone, the community focus translates into safer neighborhoods, solid schools, and a good public infrastructure. Utah's another one of those states that's been getting an overabundance of Californians. But like I said earlier, it's just what happens. People from Utah have been moving to California since forever. I always tell people, how do you think California got that big? People came from places like Utah, Idaho, Colorado, Texas. It was one of the most moved to states for about 100 years. But if you like hiking, skiing, standing on cliffs while shouting, "I have arrived," the national parks here are next level. From Zion to Bryce Canyon, Utah's scenery is nothing short of cinematic. If you ever want to take a week-long, 2-week-long thing with your kids for the summer or some vacation, take them to the national parks in Utah. It'll be one of the best memories they'll ever have. Sure, they'll complain a little bit because they want to be with their friends, but that's the American way. That's what we've always done. Every generation has done it. You got to go on a family trip, you complain you're going to miss your girlfriend or your friends, but it's worth it in the end. I remember complaining I had to go places with my parents. Eventually, they got tired of me whining, so I didn't have to go motorcycle riding with them every weekend. So they'd take my brother and they'd have a good time. I'd stay at home and, mess with some girlfriend or something like that. I regret the times I didn't go now. Because the times I did go, we had a great time. But Utah gets on here for its healthcare, its education, its safety. And I know someone's going to bring up Salt Lake City's got some crime now. Well, that's just Salt Lake City. The rest of the state is relatively safe. They also are big on opportunity, their economy is great, and their budget is phenomenal. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're thinking about moving to another state or another city, there is a link for a website called Home and Money in the description area below. They can get you in touch with a real estate agent anywhere in the country, and they have a bunch of other tools to help you on your home buying journey. They didn't tell me to say that. I came up with that on my own. Sound like a real pitch man at this point. All right, these are the 5 that almost made the list. Number 15 would have been Pennsylvania. They knock it out of the park with their small towns, and Pittsburgh's not a terrible place to live. Wisconsin. There's a reason not many people move out of Wisconsin. Number 13, South Dakota. Yeah, South Dakota's kind of getting a little fire. People are starting to pay attention to it, and I think it'll be one of those places in the next handful of years that gets really popular. Number 12 would have been Wyoming. Pretty much the same thing that I just explained about South Dakota would be Wyoming. And number 11 would have been Arizona. Arizona's been popular for a while. It's still going to keep going. It's lost a little bit of its steam, but it's still well above most other places. And number 1, Massachusetts. Brains, boats, and benefits. Massachusetts tops the list for one big reason: balance. It's got history. Pilgrims, Paul Revere, Boston Tea Party, they got it all. Modern tech. They got MIT, Harvard, biotech companies galore, and solid public services. Schools are great, healthcare access is high, and the public transportation in the Boston area actually functions. They have so many things going for it that the cost of living, which is kind of high in Massachusetts, and their taxes are kind of high, are overlooked because everything else is great. This was the birthplace of American intellectualism and protest, and the legacy continues today. People here are politically active, academically competent, and mildly judgmental about your choice of seafood. Cape Cod's coastline, the Berkshires, and the fall foliage don't hurt either. Yes, it's pricey, but you get what you pay for: safety, opportunity, and the ability to say, I live in Massachusetts, without a hint of smugness. Now, yeah, I've kind of explained why they're on this list already, but jobs, education, healthcare is phenomenal, opportunity is great, history is amazing, their infrastructure is pretty good. You just gotta live through some, winters that can get rough, and it is a little expensive. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a big thumbs up. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.